Sir. We have a representative from the Rwanda Obstetrics and Gynecology Society. You are welcome, sir. We have our partners in with the Latter Days All Saints Charities. You are welcome. Today, the midwives all over the world are very happy to celebrate this day. And our theme is we are celebrating 100 years of progress. That is the time International Confederation of Midwives was first started. For us in Rwanda, we are not yet 100 years old, but at least our midwifery started in 1949. That was from Kabwa mission. By then, they were training the assistant midwives. From there, we have really made the progress, as somebody will present here. Of recent, that is when we started the Midwifery Association. I have jumped to the association because today is the one reading in celebrating this day. For the midwifery, we started in 1911, helped by UNFPA. We are very grateful to UNFPA. They have really been helping us throughout. And that day we were also celebrating the World Midwifery Report. That is the first time we started giving the midwifery report worldwide. And we have been making a good step in midwifery. We have, together with others, we have tried to reduce the maternal mortality rate. As you very well know, we are now at 203 per 100,000 live births. So we are really grateful to the government of Rwanda because we have that authority of practicing. I know there are some countries where even midwives don't have that authority to celebrate. But for us, we have all the rights to celebrate. Same as we should also have the right to give the best quality services to the women we serve, to the families we serve. So at this juncture, I want to thank the midwives. Today is your day. I want to thank you for the work you are doing. You have really participated in various things, especially during the COVID time. You gave your time tirelessly, and we are very happy that you even took the measures to protect yourselves, and we are happy that none of the midwives died due to COVID. I thank them for that, and I thank them for the good services they are doing. So without taking much time, I would wish to welcome the representative of the Ministry of Health. He had apologized because this was a surprise representation and he has other work to do. So we really forgive him and we want him to give us the word of wisdom. Then he goes for another duty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Chair of Rwanda Association of Midwives, Excellency Country Representative of UNFPA, Madam Chairperson of Rwanda Association of Midwives, Mr. President, Rwanda Nurses and Midwives Union, Registrar of Rwanda of National Council of Nurses and Midwives, my brother, Chief of Party of USID Ngobyi, representative from Ajapaigo, distinguished participants, dear midwives, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I'm pleased to join you representing Honorable Minister of Health on International Day of the Midwives. As you know, the practice of midwifery can be traced back 40,000 years before Jesus Christ's birth, where pregnancy and childbirth required women to give birth in challenging and often life-threatening environments. Women supported themselves during birth based on knowledge and skills they learned from observing other mammals. According to WHO, approximately 27 million men and women make up the global nursing and midwifery workforce. This accounts for nearly 50% of the global health workforce, but still there is a global shortage of health workers, in particular nurses and midwives, who are representing more than 50% of current shortage we have in health workers. The largest needs-based shortages of nurses and midwives are in Africa and southeast part of the globe, of our globe. For all countries to reach SDG 3 on health and well-being, WHO is estimating that the world will need an additional 9 million nurses and midwives by year 2030. Achieving health for all will depend on there being sufficient numbers of well-trained and educated, regulated and well-supported nurses and midwives who receive pay and recognition with the services and quality that they provide. In Rwanda, midwives are central to the primary health care and are often the first and sometimes the only health professional we have that people see, and the quality of the assessment, care and treatment is vital. You see that 510 health centers we have across the country, we have midwives and nurses across those health facilities, and it is the first stop of our population as the lower level of health system. They are also part of their local community, sharing its culture, strengths, and vulnerabilities, and can shape and deliver effective interventions to meet the needs of patients, families, and communities. According to the Ministry of Health report year 2020-21, more than 1,604 midwives are practicing in the whole country, and the current ratio stands at 1 midwife per 2,342 of women aged 15 to 49 years, from an initial baseline in 2017 of 1 midwife per 4,064 population. The target by 2024 was, according to the strategic plan of the ministry, 1 per 2,500. As Rwanda joins the rest of the world today to celebrate the International Day of the Midwife, it is a time to reflect your contribution as midwives community in the achievement of Rwanda health system in the last 2 decades in maternal and child health indicators. As the chair has mentioned, we have rose from 76% of vaccination coverage in 2000 to 96% in recent DHS. Use of any method of contraception rose from 13% to 64% of women aged from 15 years to 49 years. Unmet need for family planning reduced from 36% to 14%. Delivery in health facility rose from 27% in 2000 to 93% according to last DHS report. Fertility rate reduced from 60.2 to 4.1. Neonatal mortality reduced from 44 to 19 per 1,000. And as she mentioned, we reduced maternal mortality from 1,071 to 203 per 100,000 live births. This is because your contribution was great and you contributed a lot alongside other health workers. But challenges still is there. We still have starting at 33%, and coverage of antenatal care, first and fourth standard, is still below 50% countrywide. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I once again want to close my intervention by thanking the community of midwives and your partners to effectively organizing this International Day. Dear midwives, it's your day. Celebrate and have a fun. The ministry is on your side for continuous professional development. I thank you for kind attention.
Thank you so much, dear Dr. Corneille, for a wonderful speech. Please help me to put our hands together again for the message we got in. In his speech, is saying that our maternal mortality rate have reduced, and neonatal mortality ratio also reduced from 44 to 19. It's a great progress, and our key prayers are midwives. So let's celebrate. We put hands together for our wonderful work of what we have been doing. Dear guests, allow me to introduce the next presenter. My mentor, she has been my teacher 10 years ago, and she's still my mentor in research projects. She's a lecturer in the University of Rwanda in the Midwifery department, and she is now specializing. She's a PhD fellow, and she has a wonderful presentation for us. Please welcome Mrs. Priscilla.
Dear guest of honor, distinguished guests, midwives, friend of midwives, good morning. It is with a pleasure that I'm gonna share with you the progress of education in midwifery in Rwanda. In Rwanda, the education of midwifery may be divided into two main periods. The first period, we may take the period before 1994 and the period after 1994. Before 1994, there was no midwifery education as a discipline, and we were having other discipline which also started late in 1929. We were having a medical assistant at Butale, and then later we had the other categories of healthcare providers, including nurses, assistant. We had the A3 nurses. We had the nurses and the midwives assistant, and after that, also we had a school of nursing at the National University of Rwanda. At the National University of Rwanda, which was at Butale, and this one took place for around 5 years, and after that, they continued of having two nurses, what we can call comprehensive nurses. All those categories were serving all people, even in the maternity ward. They were providing services, and from there, they were not having enough training to provide those midwifery services. And the other schools opened in different institutions, especially institutions of religious, also took place, but no one of them was having midwifery training. It is by 1996 where the training started of midwifery. I think the person who is projecting has to follow, please. Maybe apart the persons that we didn't talk are the traditional birth attendant also, which was involved in was giving a midwifery care to the mothers, but they were not having any training. And this was associated with a high rate of mortality and morbidity among the mothers and the newborns and their families. It is after the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994, where the Ministry of Health, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, they started to develop a curriculum for midwifery training at the advanced diploma. And this took place in 1996, and the school started in 1997. In 2007, transformation of nursing and midwifery education in Rwanda took place, and the Ministry of Health promoted the 5 public schools, namely Byumba, Kabgayi, Kibungo, Rwamagana, and the Nyagatare schools of nursing and midwifery. And they are the ones which started to train nurses and midwives separately. And this time also, we cannot forget to talk, the curriculum has changed. We used the competence-based curriculum. Before we were using a content-based curriculum. Yeah, this is one of the Rwamagana School of Nursing and Midwifery. And you can see that our leaders are behind us. They are much concerned for nurses and midwives. This was a visit with the President of the Republic of Rwanda, with the former President Clinton. Next. This was a Kabgayi School of Nursing and Midwifery. This one have been operating even before 1994, but there was no midwifery training. They were called the infirmières accoucheuses. They were combining both nursing and midwifery. Nyagatare School also have existed among those schools we were talking, the 5. Kibungo also was another school of nursing and midwifery, and Byumba. Those are the 5 that have started. The picture you see here, those are the first cohort of midwives and nurses trained at a bachelor level for the purpose to teach in those schools which were opened. Also, we had an involvement of HRIH, or Human Resource for Health. This one was launched in 2012. And from there, the midwifery department also received the experts in midwifery that were pairing with the existing staff in Rwanda. And this helped the education in midwifery to advance, especially they were involved in curriculum development, curriculum review. They were also involved in research and the publications. They were mentoring staff and the students and motivating them to publish. And also they were having innovative classroom and clinical teaching. They were also, as I told you, they were pairing with the existing staff. This the first photo, it was in a conference in Namibia where midwives were taken in support of those HRIH. Also, they were teaching students without considering their institutions. If they are midwives and they are midwives, they were also taking the lead to teach them where they found them in a clinical placement. In 2013, this thing took place, and those 5 schools were taken under the administration of University of Rwanda for a better management, also for increasing the quality in education, also for addressing the problems of the population, the students, the nation, the region, and globally, because the 5 schools were not having that capacity. Let us go through the achievement of midwifery education in Rwanda up to date. The progress have been made, and we started by an advanced diploma in midwifery, but later in 2013, the Bachelor of Science in Midwifery started, and up to date, 1,383 midwives at advanced diploma and 174 at bachelor degree have graduated from ULA, from KHI. We have also other schools which has graduated midwives like Kitibogora. They have graduated 173. And Ruri has started in 2008. I think the first cohort is not yet graduated. For now, we have PhDs in midwifery. We have 2 midwives with PhD. I wish that they may stand up because they are the pioneers that you can see them. I have Chantal, Olive. They have PhD. One was obtained abroad, but another one, we are happy to say that it was obtained from University of Rwanda. And we have 6 midwives under PhD studies, and some of them are supported by UNFPA. They are providing equipment and scholarship for some of them. Also, we may say that we have known the ICM through LAM, and we are accessing guidelines from them, and especially ICM global standards, which make us to progress at the standard level. Now we have the future plan in midwifery education. We wish to start a master's program in midwifery, and what I can say is that currently it is approved by relevant bodies and of accreditation in Rwanda. It will start in this year. And we needed to develop a doctoral of nursing practice with a focus in midwifery. And we needed to emphasize on capacity building in research, focusing on midwifery education, practice in Rwanda and beyond. And therefore, the high quality education will help us to go through the next 100 years of maternity care, where continual transformation is essential to meet the changing needs of mothers, newborns, and their families. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Priscilla, for a good presentation on the progress of midwifery development in Rwanda. So I think it was very nice. It was a long journey, but we still have a long journey. So allow me to invite and introduce Mr. Innocent Kagabo for a presentation. Mr. Kagabo Innocent is a master's holder in education, leadership, and management. He is currently the registrar of National Council of Nurses and Midwives, former assistant lecturer at the University of Rwanda, former National Council of Nurses and Midwives chairperson, that's the board of directors, a former supervisor at the Rwanda Military Hospital. Welcome, Mr. Innocent.
Morning, everybody. As he say, my name is Innocent Kagabo, Registrar of Nursing Council. I'm happy today on this International Day of Midwives. So, what I want to talk, it's about regulation, because with the profession, we cannot work well without regulation. So, I want just to talk about regulations. So maybe before the presentation, maybe I want to talk about the about number of midwives in the country. The total number we have on the system, on web-based application system, we have the total number 1,933. It's a number of midwives. We have the total of number. When I go by categories, we have in associate with A2, we have 1. In registered midwife, A1. When I say A1 means advanced diploma, we have 1,750. When registered midwife, bachelors, we have 1,072. With masters, we have 9. With registered midwives, with PhD, we have 1. But with these numbers, maybe we'll see that on a web-based application, those number we have, maybe it can be above of this number, but the precision number we can say it's what we have on a system. So maybe it can be better to make a suggestion to those midwives who are in the system to apply for the system. Those are the total number of midwives. Okay, I see now the presentation. The National Council of Nurses and Midwives Regulatory Authority, the National Council of Nurses and Midwives, NCNM, was established by Act of Parliament under law number 25/2080 of 25 in July 2008, determining its organization, functioning, and competence to regulate the nursing and midwifery profession in order to protect the public. We are there for protection of the public from the aims of NCNM, of National Council, is to create order. Have to have order, consistency, control, and accountability of practice. To regulate the profession through setting standard for education. Really, we have to have a standard of education. Practice and professional conduct of its members in collaboration with stakeholders. Next. The NSNM major responsibilities: ensure safe and appropriate care, preserve professional code of conduct, ethics of nurses and midwives, setting policy and standard, nursing and midwifery education program accreditation, registration, certification, licensure, and student annexing. Disciplinary procedure, approval of nursing and midwifery program. Next. The role of nursing NCNM in nursing education, establish prerequisite for entry to nursing and midwifery profession, set standard and guidelines for opening and managing nursing and midwifery program, approve a program curricula, monitor nursing and midwifery education institution regularly and ensure that they continue to meet this, the set standard. Next. Audit and approve nursing and midwifery program. Have to make an audit. Collaborate with relevant education establishments, having quality of education in their responsibility. Provide professional and regulatory support in the process of pre-registration examination. Take appropriate measures for the institution that do not meet the requirement. The institution which doesn't meet the requirement. What can the NSNM do to ensure that practice standards are met? issue examination to nurses and midwives who wish to practice in the country, but do not have all established requirements for registration and licensure. Register and certify all eligible nurses and midwives. Issue and renew licensure to only those who meet and continue to meet practice standards. Next. To withdraw license from anyone who contravenes the code of professional conduct. We have that power to withdraw that license. To ensure that nurses and midwifery continue to demonstrate that the professional knowledge and skill are up to date in relation to their area of their practice. That's why we need to continue with CPD in order to be updated. Update standard of education and practice as may be necessary. We have to update this standard of education. Next. What is professional conduct? It is a desired professional behavior expected of nurses or midwife that is reflected by their practice, level of competence, and ethical behavior. Next. What is the professional misconduct? It is a fail to comply with the code of professional conduct. Professional misconduct constitute but is not limited to: there is incompetence, there is committing harmful to the client, against the client, unethical behavior, to have unethical behavior, offensive, abusive, degrading, etc. Insulting and mistreating a client as a related to the act. Fail to meet professional obligation toward a patient, client, may be due to incompetence, or it can be a negligence that may cause the detrimental effect, abuse of professional trust, criminal act. Next. Key achievement. The key achievement in education. We have reviewed and approval and disseminate standard for approval of nursing and midwifery program in different institutions. Curriculum. Accreditation policy, online continuing professional development, CPD, to what I was saying before. Developed the student logbook. Already we developed this logbook. Inspection of school in conjunction with HEC and the other councils. In key achievement on examination, we have reviewed and approved rules and regulations for licensing exams. Regular examination carried out to a 3 examination session in year. Those are the total number you see for maybe from 2017 to 2021. You see the numbers. The total number is 9,880. So those are the numbers. Next. Key achievement in legislation. Legislation policy including student indexing. Though the 14,579 nurses and midwifery are on active electronic register. Those are the total number we have now in the system, in web-based application. When we say that total number, there are nurses, there is mental health nurses, there is midwives. So those are the total number we have. We have trained these certain nurses volunteer to support colleagues with web-based application on this web, and we can say this web-based application, it's the support of UNFPA. Really, we thank you for this support. So, on a key achievement, verification of license, registration in health facilities, collaboration with Ministry of Health, facilitated DNs and HR of hospital to verify validity of license of their staff in the system. Introduced professional insignia, badge, and epaulet. Next. Professional conduct, disciplinary management. We developed the manual on handling disciplinary matters, training the investigator teams, these nurses or midwife who go on ground to investigate the malpractice. We receive 50 complaints. We've analyzed cases, 42. These cases from the malpractice, and there is 8 pending. Joint committee assessment and hearing and the disciplinary cases. Next. Professional practice. The scope of practice was reviewed and submitted to the Ministry for approval. Grading categorization was submitted to the Ministry of Health. We drafted standard for practice for nurses and midwives available. Drafted core competencies for nurses and midwives. Next. Challenge. The challenge, frequent licensing examinations, some of which were not scheduled, compounded with hunger number of candidates. Sometimes maybe we have many candidates who want to do the exam. So sometimes we make even the exam which is not scheduled and big number. We have a shortage of staff. Few local health facilities and the institution we are applying to CPD. So we want to really people to apply for the CPD provider in order nurses and midwifery to have this CPD. Data applicants, sometimes you may be nurses or midwifery to apply for a new, it's sometimes difficult. So it can be better to apply on time and to have this license on time. Duplication on system. This is a problem of the systems. Still, we see how this system can work well in order to not make this duplicate. Forgery cases. Still now we see the forgery of license. Application not meet the requirements. We see the applicant, nurses and midwives who apply without the total requirement which is needed. To continue this way forward is to continue to improving our web-based application. To what I will say that that web-based application is still now we have the problem. Still we develop this in order to work well. To alert the applicant using SMS and email to remind them about the renewal period. So this message can be important to help the nurses and midwifery to renew. To conduct examination in 3 specified period per year in order to reduce those number who doesn't have a license. Next, in conclusion, as NCNM is under the aegis of the Ministry of Health, the National Council share relevant information regarding nursing and midwifery professional matters, collaboration and mutual support to improve education and service delivery, including professional conduct, are central. NCNM ensure the public and the other stakeholders that it will continue to work with them to address professional issues related to education and the practice of its member. The NCNM shall continue to pay attention to the public and address their concerns through increasing dialogue and improving on nurses and midwives, the professional knowledge, skills, attitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kagao, for a nice presentation. Again, that is highlighting our progress, that we should be happy. Yes? Do you agree with me that we should be happy? Yes. So let's do it. Let's dance. We are requesting the DJ to give us a song, a nice song. We can stand up, we can dance. If you want to come here,
ishema ryo kuba mu bwiza bwawe aho nkuramisha ubugingo.
we have a tea break or coffee break outside, so we can go and get that energy and come back and dance. Please, you're welcome. You can follow this wonderful DJ, continue the music. We want to dance. Please, you are welcome. The protocol is going to show you our table. It is on our left.
Newishema ryo kuba mu bwiza bwawe aho nkuramisha ubugingo bwanjye namenye ko ari wowe mutanga bugingo namenye ko ari wowe wo kwiringirwa ngira nti nyagasani Imana mubyeyi wanjye uhorana nanjye undinda mu ntambwe zanjye ngufitiye ituro akira umutima wanjye uwawe nawe uwanjye warakoze Mana warakoze Mana warakoze gitare warakoze Mana nawe uwanjye nawe tubivugura baruta Data uhorana intsinzi wambereye umucyo mu mwijima nawe kwigereranya wowe urihariye mukunzi wanjye munezero wanjye ngira ni nyagasani Imana mubyeyi wanjye uhorana nanjye undinda mu ntambwe zanjye ngufitiye ituro akira umutima wanjye uwawe nawe uwanjye warakoze mana.
Amezi icyenda mu nda yawe udahuga wanga kumuhungabana, mutima mwiza uzira umunabi uri mudasumbwa, urenze umwamikazi undutira ibikomangoma, nakubisa kuvuga urwo wanduye bintera ishema kwitwa uwawe mama. Uru rukundo w'ishema ryo kuba.
Our celebration. We are going to pursue with the program. We are sitting here, but there are other midwives that are in clinical practice, that are in different activities. I would like to request you to put your hands together for all of those midwives that are in practice, and don't make it short, make it long, like 1 minute for them, please. Again. That is not yet 1 minute. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have a video of midwives that had a message to address today for the celebration. I would like to the technician to project that video. It has a message of what they have been doing in these years, the past years. So, enjoy.
Midwives works with the youth in various health settings, such as community, schools, and health settings like health centers, hospitals, when they're joining to learn about sexual reproductive health or consultation. But most of the time, midwife works when they are doing community outreaches to teach or to create awarenesses on sexual reproductive health to the youth.
Midwife, they are very important in labor and delivery. First of all, it's a profession, and it's a specialty. It concerns with pregnancy and delivery, managing of newborns. So it's very important for labor and delivery for the midwife, or to have a midwife in labor and delivery and monitoring, or even because it is the profession that deals and manages all the complications concerning pregnancy, concerning labor and its phases or its processes. And it starts all along when just a mother knows or think that she's pregnant. So that is the core. A midwife with pregnancy, with delivery, with a child, that is the core of the profession. So a midwife is a very key person.
The midwife's work in family planning has responsibility to provide enough information to the client about the contraceptive method, the side effects, the advantage of family planning. Then the client, after receiving those information, they have right to choose the methods. But before providing the method, we have to see the eligibility. If the method chosen is eligible to the client. If it is not eligible, she has to choose another method.
Challenges in health professions cannot miss. They are always like a twin to the service we deliver. But in midwifery, the most difficult challenge that it is always hard to cope with, it is when we get a poor outcome. There is a lot of risk factors that they may take a mother who came in a health condition. So when you meet that is the worst thing a midwife can meet.
The challenges that midwives are addressing on adolescent reproductive health are the lack of information or lack of awareness on sexual reproductive health. The other challenge is adolescent pregnancy that is raising a lot across the country. But also other challenges is the lack of the services, access to services. To resolve those challenges, we try to meet them where they are through the community outreaches, but also to provide good services when they're joining us while we are working either in schools or in health settings.
Midwives are still few in the country. They are still few in the country. The ratio is not still meeting with the needed number of midwives, at least in labor ward. According to the service we need to deliver, what we deliver, we still have need more midwives, at least to meet the need of our clients and give the quality of care that we expect and we need, at least on the standard level. Midwives are still have the challenge of upgrading their studies. If they can upgrade all their studies and have their studies, it can be marvelous, and that can contribute much to their service they deliver.
In general, the challenge in family planning is rumors. The client comes with long information. Our responsibility is to provide the right information in order to prevent, in order to increase knowledge on family planning.
A lot have been done so far in the past years, such as community outreaches where midwives are joining students while they are teaching them about sexual reproductive health, creating awareness. An example I can give is now they are working in Kirehe, but also we use the students to join the students in midwifery to join the secondary school student, university student, or primary school students, to create that awareness and also to provide awareness as well as answering the questions that they might be having.
Since I started in 2010, there is a great improvement and progress. By then, we were very few midwives. And at my workplace, we were still working mixed with nurses. But now, we are in the department, we are only midwives. And another thing, by then, midwives had just advanced diplomas. But right now there's good progress. Here we don't have, but we have midwives who are PhD holders in our country. That is a great progress and improvement in midwifery.
Many researches have been conducted on adolescent sexual reproductive health so far across the country, and publications are out. And those research are going to inform the policymakers to make decisions or plans for adolescent sexual reproductive health.
And there is also, I may talk also about Rwanda Association of Midwives. There is mentorship. There is mentorship that is done with midwives. That is just to share the knowledge. The progress is marvelous. We are far from where we were, and I think we are heading far. We are heading far also. So there's a lot of things that we can celebrate.
Yes, of course. She is a friend of midwives. Welcome. Thank you.
Dear midwives and friends of midwives, dear Josephine, President of the Rwandan Association of Midwives, dear Kwabena, UNFPA representative, government representatives, representative of the Union of Nurses and Midwives, dear representatives of the Diplomatic Corps, everyone here present, all protocols observed. I am so very happy to be here today with you and to celebrate the 100 years of progress of the midwifery profession, and equally important, the work and the results of the Association of Midwives and each and every midwife in Rwanda. I'm here to share Sweden's solidarity with Rwanda's midwifery community and supporters. Midwives have been relentless in advocating for enhanced quality midwifery services around the world, improving maternal, adolescent, reproductive and child health. We stand by you and we fully support the work that you do. Around the world, midwives make a vital contribution to the quality and safety of maternal care, to sexual and reproductive health and rights. In Rwanda, in 20 years, maternal mortality decreased from 1,071 to 203 per 100,000 live births. That's significant. The existence of the Association of Midwives has been crucial in advocating for further investments into the midwifery profession here in Rwanda, and helped represent the collective interest of Rwandan midwives over the years. There's also been significant progress in securing better access to contraceptives, especially among married couples, and to secure access to safe abortion for women meeting the qualifying criteria of the recent ministerial order. I would also like to recognize the role played by civil society actors in advocating for legislative and policy amendments that will further broaden the role of midwives in enhancing sexual and reproductive health and rights, and for increased access to comprehensive sexuality education among adolescents. This includes work to challenge the negative social norms of sexual and reproductive health, especially around sexual cohesion and stigma of teenage mothers. As we celebrate the important role played by midwives in Rwanda and across the globe, we also need to recognize that a lot more can be done. The maternal mortality rate in Rwanda of 203 per 100,000 live births remains way below the SDG target 3.1, which aims at reducing global maternity mortality ratio to less than 70 per 100,000 live births. More than 800 mothers die during childbirth here in Rwanda, and more than 7,000 babies die before the age of 1 month. These figures paint a grim picture, each number covering pain and suffering of couples, children, and families. Every death is one too many. Limited education opportunities for midwives has been cited as one of the stumbling blocks in the growth of the midwifery profession. That makes me so very happy, just as a parenthesis, to know that we now have 2 PhD holders here. I think that's absolutely excellent, and that you're working to take this forward. Because when midwifery is provided by trained, regulated, and licensed midwives integrated into the health system, quality of care increases, contributing to sustained improvement of maternal and newborn health outcomes. There are also gaps related to reproductive health that we jointly need to address. These include access to safe abortion and comprehensive abortion care, access to contraceptives, especially for young people, access to comprehensive sexuality education, and the prevention of unwanted teenage pregnancies. Sweden prioritizes these interventions as reflected in our strategy here in Rwanda. As we celebrate this International Day of Midwife, I would also like to take the opportunity to recognize the midwives back home in Sweden, where the midwifery role is considered in very high regard. In Sweden, midwives are entrusted with a holistic approach, caring for sexual and reproductive health and rights, all the way from meeting adolescents within schools and at youth centers, helping them to better understand their sexuality and the prevention of STIs and unwanted pregnancies, caring for the health of the expectant mother and fetus, helping couples and single moms get access to IVF as well as other fertility issues, supporting couples and women with comprehensive abortion care, and providing support to individuals and families going through hardship related to sexual and reproductive health and rights. To this end, the Swedish government has made significant strides in improving the capacity of our midwives, including, for example, an emphasis on the professional development of midwives and making midwives visible and accessible for women and girls, boys and men of all ages from teenagehood, which has had a very positive impact on adolescent sexual and reproductive health and rights and their ability to make informed decisions. I know that you are working strongly from a holistic approach to include the full scope of sexual and reproductive health and rights practice for midwives. That makes me very happy, really. That's super. Sweden continues to be an ally with a strong commitment to sexual and reproductive health and rights here in Rwanda, as well as elsewhere in the world. We have a strong rights focus, and here in Rwanda, we have a clear emphasis on adolescents' SRHR. So let me end by reiterating how happy I am to be here today. And if there's one thing I would like you to remember from my words, it is Sweden's and my personal appreciation for the important work that you are undertaking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ambassador of Swedish to Rwanda. We acknowledge your support. You have been with us all the time. You come. When we call you, you come. So thank you so much for your support. We have also other supports. We don't work alone. Midwives are there to help women, to help the community, but we have other people in other organizations to which we lean our shoulder. Sometimes we cry, we call them, they help us. So thank you so much, all supporters. Thank you. Our next guest, next speaker, Mr. Gitembagara Andre. He is president of Rwanda Nurses and Midwifery Union. He is also on a board of ICN, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Gitembagara, with all the staff in RNMU, have been working together to call all of us to go together, join our efforts so that all of those maternal mortality rates and neonatal mortality rate and other deaths can stop, because we believe that no one should die from a preventable cause of death. So allow me to call him. You're welcome.
Excellence, Swedish Ambassador, Excellence, the representative of UNFPA, Madam President of Rwanda Midwife Association, the Registrar of the National Council of Nurses and Midwives, partners from IntraHealth, JAPAIGO, from Gynecology Association, partners, all partners here, nurses, midwives here, senior midwives, senior nurses here. Allow me to start by wishing all midwives present and around the country a happy Midwives Day. Talking about this noble profession, sometimes it is hate-filled. We are celebrating today the achievement, but this is a long journey that the country, midwives, has been going through to achieve what we are celebrating today. It has been talked about the long journey that we have been going through, but I want to remind you that in 1995, we only have less than 5 midwives in the country. Today, you have been shown the number of midwives that we do have in the country. So I want to tell you we should celebrate, we should smile. So today Today is smiling, is celebration. So we should smile and talk each other. As we are celebrating the achievement, allow me, I know that the president of Midwives Association would do that, but he may do in her way, but allow me to acknowledge our elder who have struggled a lot to support and to bring us where we are today. Some of them, they are in retirement, others, they are still working, but allow me to acknowledge the work done by Mary, please. She's still working in the Ministry of Health. And Mary, she struggled a lot so that midwifery profession be where we are today. This is not a secret. Every nurse, every midwife knows about that. Allow me to acknowledge Sister Kimonyo Judy. Kimonyo Judy, she was the first registrar of the Council of Nurses and Midwives. Okay, thank you so much. And OCOD. She was the pioneer of people who started midwifery education in the country. The same as Mary. And after, she was also the one or the pioneer who started the Nursing Council. And she was the first registrar. She retired last year, and the jury will recognize your work. As I told you yesterday, a nurse or midwife should not retire. So we always need you. So there are others that are not around, but I could recognize the Agnes and Esther, who are not present here, but I think most of midwives, you know how their contribution to your profession, midwifery profession. Celebrating today, we acknowledge that we are celebrating achievement in education, in practice, in regulation, and in leadership. Because I'm sure that you can be proud today that midwives, you are at a certain level, which is a very good level of leadership in your profession. So this is a long journey, even though we still have also the long journey to go through. Let us recognize today the work done by midwives, even in limited resources. When you go to the ground in the health center, you may find one midwife, only one midwife, within a coverage population of 15,000. You can imagine a coverage population of 15,000, you only have one midwife in the health center. And that's where comes the relationship or how we work together with the nurses. So I come back on my presentation. Actually, most of our work that was supposed to be done by midwives are done by nurses because of the lack of midwives, because of the number of midwives that is still so short. So we are experiencing a very shortage of midwives from the health center up to the referral hospitals. And this is, I would like that to mention that while the DG was still here. But if you look the plan in the Ministry of Health, they do have a plan for around 1,000 health professions per year. 1,000 health professions, and the country will have more than 461 health centers. That means if we distribute this human resource, we couldn't have at least 100 midwives per year that are appointed in the health facilities. So you see, we have a lot to do in terms of advocacy, in terms of increasing the number of midwives, but also in terms of increasing the quality that I believe the Midwife Association is working on. Last year, we conducted a survey to know about the working conditions of midwives and nurses. You may be surprised that most of midwives, they are working more than 60 hours per week, where it was supposed to work 45 hours per week. So we found out that more than 75% of our respondents, they work more than 60%. 60 hours per week. So you can imagine the implication that it has, not only for the life of midwives, but also for the life of people we are saving. So this is a serious issue we need to advocate for. And this issue was, it has been worse during the COVID-19. During the COVID-19 period, these 2 years, 2020, 2021, everybody may know that midwives, mostly midwives and the nurses, they expressed a very big issue in terms of transport during the lockdown, the lunch at work, or the meals in general. So, and it was a hard moment. You are required to report to work, to save lives. In the same time, we don't have transport, you don't have lunch at work. So this was a very serious issue. Have been advocating through the hospitals and the other employers to avail transport, but that was in vain. So you may know that even some midwives who were supposed to work in maternity or in labor ward, some of them have been appointed to work in the COVID department. So you can imagine how the shortage have been shortened again. So nurses and the midwives, we are bound by our profession and our background. From the ICM, we do have what we call, ICN is the International Council of Nurses, that I'm in the board representing Africa. ICM is the International Confederation of Midwives, and WHO, we have what we call Triad Forum. That's a triad meeting that we do and discuss about our two professions, how it can interact each other, how it can support each other, and analyze gaps and how it can come back all those gaps. So that's where we are linked from the international level. But from the national level, we are linked from the education to the regulation and to the practice. So we are always working together, sometimes sharing the scope of practice, even though it is not normal because of this lack of shortage of midwives. But we are still trying to train, and midwives have been supportive in that way, training nurses in some scope of practice of midwives so that they can cover the gap of midwives. So we are still keen on that partnership, and we will always work together, to uplift the lives of women and children and the babies. I want to finish my speech by talking about something that is very important. During the COVID-19 pandemic, midwives, as well as other health professions, didn't get what we call horizontal promotion. The horizontal promotion is an award that is awarded to all public servants who have well performed, and then they are added at their salary annually something. So due to the situation of the country at that moment, the Ministry of Labor took a decision that no public servant could get horizontal promotion. I would like that maybe Mary, you can bring our request to the minister. I have been talking with him, but we shall also draft a formal request. Midwives, nurses, they worked even beyond the normal circumstances. So they should have more advantages than even they used to have. So, and we need to struggle for that. So I'm so happy that today we can celebrate with more than around 2,000 midwives trained from the registered nurse level of A1 up to the PhD level. And I'm so happy that today we are celebrating while we are together with our different partners and proud of your achievement. Let us celebrate. Thank you so much. Happy International Midwives Day.
Thank you, Mr. Andre. I think we may thank him more again. At this time, allow me to introduce and invite Miss Mukangusi Juliet Nola, who is a masterhood in education, leadership, and management. Currently, she is an assistant lecturer at the University of Rwanda. She is a vice secretary of the Rwanda Association of Midwives, and she is a team leader or a mentorship team leader in Enabel Barami project. Welcome, and you are ready for introduction, Madam.
Thank you, MC. My colleagues talked about education and its progress, and then the duration. I'm going to embark on midwifery practice with a focus on mentorship as one way of capacity building the practicing midwives and educators. Next. Maternal and newborn mortality rates are still acceptably high, as we heard from the Director of Clinical Services. And in Rwanda, we've been talking of it as 203 per 100,000 births. We can see that the newborn death rate is still at 19. And this is evidence-based by the Rwanda Demographic Health Survey of 2019 to 2020. However, it's proved that 50% of the major causes of maternal death are really preventable. And again, 61% of neonatal deaths are also known and they can be prevented. One of the causes of this death is poor quality care. And it's responsible for 61% of newborn deaths and 50% of maternal deaths. And we say that these deaths are preventable. It's again recognized that the major causes of maternal death are postpartum hemorrhage, hypertensive disorders, while birth asphyxia, prematurity, and sepsis are the major killers of our newborns, and still we say that these are preventable. So, if there is improved quality care, then there would be a good reduction in the death rates. Next. Now, one of the strategies which was improvised was to build the capacity of the healthcare providers who work in maternal and newborn units. Training on management of obstetrical emergencies, which we call EMOC, which includes helping babies, helping mothers survive, not forgetting respectful maternity care. Because if we were to give our midwives, our nurses, our doctors trainings without respectful maternity care, we would be doing nothing. So we included respectful maternity care modules in our trainings. The type of mentorship we are doing is applying what is known as RODOS high frequency, which is facility based. And this is done in some selected hospitals on 3 days. 3 days which are done consecutively on a monthly basis. And this mentorship is not done by the Rwanda Association of Midwives alone. It has partners who support it either directly or indirectly. And for the past 8 years, the association has worked with different partners, starting with the Ministry of Health through the Rwanda Biomedical Center, UNFPA, MCSP, which is USAID, TSM, ICM, Radio Global Health, Intra Health Ngobyi, and Enabel Varame Project. The partnership of these people, in fact, we also partner with the Rwanda Association, Rwanda Society of Gynecologists and Obstetricians, as well as Rwanda Pediatric Association. And with these two associations, we work together. We don't leave one another behind in mentorship. We go in a triad, a midwife, a gynecologist, and a pediatrician when we descend to the health facilities to provide mentorship. So the partnership mainly focuses on capacity building to improve the knowledge and skills of healthcare providers to help them manage complications which are not anticipated during childbirth. It is those which are expected and those that are not anticipated. The aims are to improve the competence of healthcare providers to enable them manage unanticipated complications related to 1, breeding after birth, pre-eclampsia and eclampsia, birth asphyxia, management of prematurity, and neonatal infections. You can see one of the senior midwives demonstrating managing postpartum hemorrhage. This was removal of retained placenta. Next, we use 5 modules, of which there is helping mothers survive and helping babies survive. And within these, we have breeding after birth complete, which we call BABC, preeclampsia and eclampsia, not forgetting respectful maternity care. When we are dealing with helping babies to survive, we embark on 3 modules known as helping babies breathe. There's a second edition which we are using now. There was a first edition, and then it was revised to second edition. We also have essential care for every baby and essential care for small babies, because all these babies have to be catered for. That is one way of demonstrating helping babies to breathe. As we do this mentorship, I say that we practice low dose, high frequency. This means we provide smaller portions of a module and practice it as many times as possible so that someone masters what we have taught her or him. and in the end, they will gain competence and confidence in maternal and newborn care practice. This RODOS high frequency also provides basic understanding of how to help mothers survive, babies to breathe, with hands-on practice. Now the results of mentorship projects. We've had different mentorship projects. First of all, the way we do it is either we use the conventional way of holding workshops and training trainers to go back and train others, and there is another way whereby we descend to the health facilities and train the healthcare providers on site on the real clients. That's why we use the 3 days being with them, being where they are, looking at their challenges, looking at their weaknesses, and then working with them and uplifting their level of understanding. Evidence is that currently 1,684 healthcare providers have been trained and certified in HMS and HBS modules. This includes doctors, midwives, and general nurses. We don't train midwives only, but those who have contact with a mother, a pregnant, a laboring, and a baby. So we work with all of them and we train all of them. So that number is the one that we give training to and certified them. However, when it goes to mentorship, going on the site where we train and we see them practice, we have trained 924 mentees and have mentored them through and validated them and then certified them. In this mentorship projects, we design QI projects, and these projects have contributed to improvement in service delivery. On the other hand, the beneficiaries of this program appreciated that the low-dose, high-frequency approach as a key to increase the level of knowledge, skills, and attitude of their health care providers. Implementation of low-dose high-frequency. This was introduced by ICM to us because ICM is one of our partners. They are the ones who taught us how to do low-dose high-frequency. And then we are implementing it through respectful maternity care and use of pathogram. This is a very big and crucial tool that we have to advocate for and use in our healthcare provision to mothers in labor. We have QI projects, or we design them to align strategic plan and policies of the country. So, control, maternity, and we teach our mentees clinical documentation and reporting. As we mentor these mentees in the healthcare settings, we teach them how to use data, how to look for data, how to interpret the data, and how to deliver services based on data. We also use the low-dose high-frequency approach to ensure the quality of training, because if we don't do that, then we compromise the training. We assess some of these mentees using OSCE, especially when it is in the training institutions. We use structured clinical assessment. The program activities are conducted in health care facilities and education institutions, because if you want something to be sustained, it's better to start within the nursing schools. Next. Achievements. There has been collaboration with multidisciplinary healthcare providers, because we said we work with doctors, we work with general nurses, we work with different people. There has been improved collaboration and communication between nurses, midwives, doctors, and other healthcare providers. And this has improved the understanding of each other's role. There has been strengthened relationship between professional association because we work as a triad, and it has improved the quality of care and health outcomes for women, babies, and their families. Now, as we do mentorship, we have evidence which is data-driven. We just took a sample. Mentorship is done by in different projects, but we took a sample of the Enabel Barame support, and we looked at the data average of 14 hospitals where Enabel Barame projects operates from, and we looked at the baseline of some of these indicators, and we looked for an average at the end of 1 year, which was October 2020 to September 2021. So you can see the baseline survey which was conducted at the beginning and the results at the end of 1 year. Next. These are neonatal indicators. You can also see the contribution of mentorship to those 14 hospitals. Next. The results continue. There is documented benefits of mentorship program, which includes progress made by hospital mentees in getting more competence to manage some complicated cases during labor and postpartum. The deliveries are now being conducted according to the guidelines set by the Ministry of Health. The patograms are available in maternity and within the client's file, and it is at an average of 72%, and you see that we need even to work hard on that. Mentees have understood the importance of using a patogram to monitor active labor in order to get the best outcome. Newborn care is provided according to the guidelines. However, there are still some gaps which we have to also work on. One, there is shortage of staff for service delivery, which others have talked about. There is inadequate or lack of equipment and materials. The president of RNMU talked of limited resources. There is an inconsistency of attendance of mentees, which results from the shortage of staff, and this makes us take long in mentorship. There is inadequate infrastructure, lack of admission rooms whereby you mix admissions and laboring mothers, lack of recovery rooms from operating theaters, lack of maternity theaters whereby we are using one theater for general cases and for maternity cases, and there is a spacious neonatologies. Next. Now, what is the way forward? There is need for sustainability. The association works collaboratively with education and regulation to sustain what has been provided to students and to the workers. The support includes integration of HMS and HBS in the school curricula, and CPD credits for license to practice. And then further collaboration with different partners and professional organizations for continuity of the training. Conclusion. There has been a remarkable change and progress observed. The continuity of mentorship is needed even to other healthcare facilities because mentorship does not cover the whole country. It depends on the available sponsor. There is high number of assisted deliveries which could be associated with poor labor monitoring and timely decision making, which results from shortage of human resource and equipment for proper labor monitoring. The baseline and end-year assessment shows that low-dose high-frequency mentoring approach contributes a lot to reduce the current gaps and clinical challenges which are seen in the health facilities. Mentorship is very crucial and beneficial, and in collaboration with all team players, the success will be achieved. Thank you, and that's the end.
Thank you so much, Sister Juliet. Again, please put your hands together for her presentation. We followed the presentations on numbers, how many we achieved. But I would like to show you our progress, not only in numbers, but yes, in numbers, but also in quality. When I started midwifery, I couldn't understand what it was before. I got inspired by my teachers in that time, Sister Helen and Kathleen. Please stand up and thank them because they have contributed. Now I'm standing in front of you. When I was finishing my advanced diploma, I went to the final hospital, that's Ashika, and I was so afraid. I knew I had skills, but in Ashika in that time, it was a very strong area of practice, even now. And I met the chief of midwives, and we learned from her. I learned personally not only practice, but leadership, management, and I couldn't speak in front of people, but now I'm here. Please acknowledge Mrs. Immaculée. Then I continued in I1, and I met my teachers. Can you please, all of you, stand up? We have our HOD, Chantal. Thank you so much. Yes. There is Sister Juliet. Please stand up also. It's only me, the case, but we have the testimony. And from there, I became somebody. I learned from them not only practicing, but also teaching. And now they have grandsons and children. Please stand up also, my student. So you can see it's a legacy. That midwifery, the way we study or we learn from each other. And it's somehow twisted because when I am a student this year, I may be a facilitator next year and vice versa. That's how we work. That's mentorship. Yeah. And another thing I would like to acknowledge is the first, after my advanced diploma, the first training I got on helping baby to breathe was sponsored by our guests here, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Please stand up we would like to acknowledge your assistance. So you see we are supported, and the journey is not yet, we are still going, we still have many things to do. So allow me to call Mrs. Immaculée for her presentation, to continue to inform us about the progress in these 100 years. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to present a presentation which was prepared by the president of the association, but since she is in another call regarding the celebration of midwives. As the vice chairperson, I take the lead to present that presentation. Yeah. So I give you a brief history of midwifery in Rwanda. Elsewhere in world wide, they are celebrating 100 years, but Rwanda, we are still young, 22 years only, because the first promotion of midwives was graduated in 2000, but we have given a lot. So midwifery is an old marking, but for the women in different countries. But for us, as I said, we are still young, 22 years old. Next. The creation of the nursing division in Rwanda was done in 1995. And as the president of the Rwanda and Nursing Union, the first chair of that nursing profession was Mrs. Mary, the one who led for us to have the profession of midwives in Rwanda. And Rwanda had only midwives after post-genocide in 1994. And the first midwifery school was opening up in 1997, the Kigali Health Institute, and the historical event, it was an historical event because it was the first promotion, and I'm proud to be the first promotion of Rwanda. And on that time, when they asked us to enter into that new profession, they are laughing because we are together. Mrs. Kimonyo was the head of the department. We refused to enter into that department because the president of the Rwanda Union and Midwives was saying the nurses, he was the first promotion in nursing, they was telling us he will be 2 fingers, only making vaginal examination. But later on we see that it was a good profession to enter in. So after that, the nursing school were comprehensive, as Sister Priscilla said. Next. The midwifery is not standalone. We go through the regulations. We are regulated by the Nursing and Midwifery Nursing Council, which was created in 2018, and they go through the competences for midwifery. And as Justin said, I think we are on a good track. We will see that also in the mortality of mother and newborn has reduced, and I can say that the midwifery profession has given a big hands on it. Next. So the Rwanda Association of Midwives was created in 2011 when we started to do the World Midwifery Report, and it was launched by UNFPA, and it was on the first time to have an association of midwives. And in 2012, we became a member of the International Confederation of Midwives. And in 2018, we were registered in Rwanda Government Board as a non-profit organization, and every year we report our activities to RGB. And Rwanda Midwives also is a member of CONAMA, the Africa Association of Midwives. Next. The objective of RAM in capacity building, we are contributing to reduce maternal and neonatal morbidity and mortality by improving the quality of maternal and newborn care. The specific objective of the association is to improve competency of healthcare providers in maternity, neonatology, the service through innovative clinical training and mentorship by using Lourdes' high-frequency approach. We are also aiming to improve quality services delivery through evidence-based practice. We also strengthening midwifery and nurse clients and family relationship through respective maternity care. To support healthcare providers to analyze and to use clinical data to improve care and service provision, as Sister Juliet has presented during our mentorship, we ask the care providers to use those data that they are collecting. The association also invests in capacity building to improve the competences of midwives and other health professionals in maternity services to provide quality care. RAM has invested an experience of 8 years in partnership with organization, with the Ministry of Health through Rwanda Biomedical Center, UNFPA, MCSP, TSAM, ICM, LED, Global Health, Intra-Health, Gobi, and Aber Barame. The partnership mainly focuses on capacity building to improve the competence and the care provider to enable them to manage or anticipate the complication related to childbirth. Next. For the sustainability of those achievements and improvement, RAM work collaboratively with the education institution and the regulatory body. As Sister Juliet said, we have incorporated the modules that we are using in pre-service in the school, so that when the students are graduate, they have already the hands-on and the skills on helping baby and mothers. We also support with the integration of helping mother to survive and baby in the school curriculum, but also since to renew our CPD, our licenses, you have to have a CPDs, so we are using also those modules to help our midwives to have CPDs point in order to renew their licenses, and the further collaboration also with other associations. So why Rwanda has to invest in midwives? As all presenters have said, we still have a high number of moms and babies who are dying, and we are to improve our skills and hands-on to reduce those mortalities and morbidities. Next. So I will be finishing by a quote which was given by Mother Teresa. She said that, "Speak kindly, let there be kindness in your face, in your eyes, in your smile, in the warmth of your greetings. Always have a cheerful smile. Don't only give your care, but give your heart as well. And your true character is most accurately measuring by how you treat those who can do nothing for you." And this is a good communication and the collaboration that we have to use when caring mom in our respective health facilities. So this was the presentation. Thank you. But before I finish, ababyaza muri hehe, muri hehe se mwamfura mwe, mwese ndabakumbura mwambwiye ko mwatsinze none koko ndabibonye ngo ababyaza muri hehe muri hehe se mwamfura mwe
Thank you. Thank you, Imakire, for the good presentation. Midwives are striving to reduce maternal and newborn morbidity and mortality. But we are not alone. We are just working collaboratively with our stakeholders and partners. So among them, we have Enabel, which is having a tie with midwives. Enabel supports Rwanda Association of Midwives in just improving maternal and newborn health. So allow me to invite the representative of Enabel in Rwanda and can deliver a speech to us. Welcome, sir.
My name is Sinari Jamari, representing here the intervention manager of Barame projects, absent in this celebration. I am one of the technical team working with this platform, and we would like to congratulate again midwives at all levels of health systems, health hospitals, up health centers. In this celebration, it is time to think about what is happening at ground level. We all know what is the health systems, quality of health care, and Barame projects is sexual reproductive health funded by Enabel, and is working in 7 districts, 3 in the west and 4, one of city of Kigali and 3 of north. The project started to work with RAM and other professional association and NGOs through a mechanism of funding for results, and now we are at the 2nd year. According to the past 2 years, there are satisfactory results with RAM and other NGOs. The intervention manager is proud of working with you, but with the recent assessment done by many other interventions supported by Barame, there are still many challenges. Even you talked about it or about them, but by knowing beside many public health challenges and other associated with issues as well as the staff shortage, financial environment, workload, and other risk factors, there is a way of strengthening systems at local level and making teamwork at health facility level in order to have desired quality improvement, quality improvement results. However, there is a successful implementation of health services use of quality of care since Barame is working with professional association, particularly with RAM, and hopefully the expected results will be achieved. Our cordial partnership between Enabel, Barame, and RAM has brought to tuition an integrated health and environment program of mentorship in 14 hospitals, but still there are 2 hospitals suffering from your support, and it is the time to advocate that RAM can also help the 2 new hospitals that are coming in the system. Those are Gatonde and Nyarugenge district hospitals. We think with the Enabel's Barame projects support and other partners, we will also cover those hospitals with the same impact that you showed. In conclusion, and again, by congratulating midwives and appreciation of of RAM, we as partners, among others, because Enabel has already started another phase of projects, and we will also continue to work together, because with partnership, teamwork, and seeing the same aim of the country in reducing maternal neonatal child mortality, we will achieve more. May I also take this opportunity to wish all midwives and Rwanda's family prosperity and welfare. And again, we encourage everyone to keep the same view, the same purpose for the welfare and health of mothers and children. Thank you.
Thank you, the representative of Enabel, for the good interventions. As I said, Rwanda Association of Midwives has different partners. Among them now, we have Intra-Health Ingobyi. Intra-Health Ingobyi is supporting Rwanda Association of Midwives in improving maternal and newborn outcome. So it supports us in 28 health facilities across the country. May I welcome you, sir, to address us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wasn't really expecting to speak, but I decided to note a few points as people were speaking, just so that I can add my voice to what others have said. And I would like to join everyone else in congratulating RAM and all midwives across the country and across the world in celebrating the International Day of the Midwife. And I also want to start by thanking RAM for inviting IntraHealth to this event. This is not the first time you've invited IntraHealth. We've been invited a couple of times before, and we've collaborated in the past, so we appreciate the partnership. I really thank Madam Josephine and the entire RAM team for your partnership, the spirit of partnership that you demonstrate time and again. We thank you so much for that. So 100 years of success, 100 years of progress is not a mean achievement. It is a significant milestone, not only in the lives of midwives in this country but around the world, but also others who are in the medical profession, because midwives don't work alone, they work with others. So it's a celebration all in the medical profession and those who work with them. So congratulations to RAM and all midwives. A midwife or midwifery is a very critical profession, and a midwife is a critical professional. I imagine that the births of most of us in this room were assisted by a midwife, and that is true of many births around the world, including Rwanda. The midwife plays a very key role in the birth process, but also in preparing mothers, fathers in their parenting role. Their job does not just end with the delivery of a baby, it continues in preparing parents to take care of their children well. The midwives are key contributors to the government of Rwanda's goal to reduce maternal and newborn mortality and morbidity. And we've seen the contributions that they have made. And all of us know that the government has prioritized the reduction of maternal and newborn mortality as expressed in the health sector strategic plan 4. And all of us in the health sector know that this is really a critical work that we all have to do to be able to reduce maternal and newborn mortality. The figures have been shown. We still have work to do. We've seen lots of progress over the past couple of years, but we still have a lot of work to go. We still have 203 mothers per 100,000 live births being lost needlessly, and those deaths can be avoided. And so I call upon all of us to continue to work together with the midwives and the Association of Midwives as well, to really redouble our efforts so we can do more to save mothers and their babies. Midwives are also great teachers and mentors. I've heard from some of my doctor friends that some of the practical healthcare skills that they have were gained or learned or acquired from a midwife. And that says a lot. I have friends who said, nobody taught me that in medical school. But when I started my residency, the first person I met was a midwife who taught me how to do this and that. So congratulations to midwives. You're great teachers. You're great mentors. You're great coaches. I have seen midwives in action and always admire their determination and passion. And I remember someone spoke here about the period, the height of COVID-19, when we still had midwives really working under very difficult circumstances. And they continued to do their work, and they still did a great job, even in the midst of a pandemic. IntraHealth works with RAM and several midwives across the country, and they mentioned the work that we are doing in 26 hospitals and 2 upgraded or medicalized centers. But that's not all, because that work also extends to 325 health centers across the country. Though RAM is not directly involved as an association in the 325 health centers, we engage with midwives in the 325 health centers to really build capacity of nurses and midwives to deliver quality healthcare in those facilities. So I really appreciate that partnership. As a result of that partnership, we've seen lots of improvement, including some of the figures that you saw being projected here. Those are all contributions made by midwives across the country. Every month, a group of midwives travel to each hospital and each health center to conduct mentorship and coaching and training. They talked about using low dose, high frequency. So every month they're going out there and supporting younger midwives and nurses and training them, equipping them with skills so that they can deliver good services. Through their work, we have seen lots of improvements, and that has been repeatedly shown here. We are proud to be partnering with RAM to contribute to key national priorities for Rwanda, and we welcome their contribution and the contribution of all midwives in Rwanda. IntraHealth is pleased to join RAM in celebrating this year's International Day of the Midwife, celebrating midwives and recognizing their contributions to the health sector. So on behalf of IntraHealth, I wish all midwives in Rwanda and all around the world good health, strength, continued productivity, so that we all continue to serve in the roles that we've been assigned. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear guest, for a wonderful speech. Earlier on, I was saying that I had midwives that have been my teachers, my mentors, and those that inspired me to be a leader or a manager, or both. But now I'm waiting for graduating in Masters of Education, Leadership and Management. But that couldn't happen. Thank you. That couldn't happen without the support of UNFPA that gave us the sponsorship. We are many. We are now 5 that are going to graduate. We have other PhD students. UNFPA have also been helping us in all of our law, because a midwife doesn't catch babies only. We are clinical practitioners, we are researchers, we approach people in the community, we are mentors, we are educators, we are leaders and managers. And we can do all of that, yes, but without a push of IntraHealth and ABEL and UNFPA, we cannot. So we thank you so much. I am taking this opportunity to call upon the representative of UNFPA to come and share the word of wisdom. You're welcome, sir.
Is it good afternoon? Yes. Good afternoon. My team has prepared a presentation, but listening to all the speeches since the morning and being one of the few left here, I decided I'm not going to bore you with a long presentation. So I start by saying a very warm anniversary to all the midwives. And secondly, I have to say all protocols observed. Midwives are known to be traditionally called the wise women in a community. Every one of us here, one way or the other, either through a traditional birth attendant or through a qualified midwife, has gone through this passage. And all is because of the work you are doing. So congratulations for the 100 years and congratulations for the 12th year in Rwanda. for UNFPA, our relationship with midwives is like a marriage. It's got ups and it's got downs. And I start by saying, when they put on my desk to sign a document for this event, I said to myself, are we going to have only a one-time event and then we go away? Why don't we turn it into something else? Which brings me to the point of why UNFPA supported in creating the Rwanda Midwifery Association, because it's at the core of our work. That is to reduce maternal mortality. I listen also to IntraHealth. I also listen to Annabelle. I listen to representation from the government, and also I understand we have USAID among us. And we have also UNFPA. I'm more interested using my interaction, looking at more of solutions. If we go to IntraHealth, we are calling for support. If we go to Annabelle, we are calling for support. And if you come to UNFPA, you are calling for also support. The question, Josephine, and everyone I throw to you is that, why not look at it holistically? What is it that these partners can come together jointly to work with you to undertake? Instead of going in silos here, you're going to, because at the end of the day, what IntraHealth and also Annabelle and UNFPA and the government of Rwanda wants is to reduce maternal mortality to meet the SDG goals. So it is critical we begin to look away from the traditional sponsorship funding and be looking more at broader partnership and coming together. There is nothing wrong. You bringing us, Annabelle, IntraHealth, UNFPA together and telling us that this is the issue and we want you to come together and then we support you. The last time I was celebrating International Midwifery Day was in Kabul, Afghanistan. And on the podium with me was the then First Lady of Afghanistan, Madam Ghani, who is so much committed to midwifery. In that room were a lot of midwives. Even where we have crisis, your fellow midwives are doing a tremendous work in especially conflict areas, and we need to clap for them. We mentioned the sponsorship, which we are giving the scholarships, and we plan and we continue to expand. And we hope that those students who go through the PhD and also the masters will become a ripple effect in terms of enhancing the capacity of midwives in Rwanda. I come from Ghana, and every morning or during the week, I drive, those of you who know Accra, a congested city, I drive through an area and I see a very big structure. And it's reading the Ghana Nurses and Midwifery Association or Council. And I see such a big structure and I always wonder, they have the strength. So what may be potential we need to be doing, and the technical team will be doing that. And I saw also a presentation made, is to see what are some of the good lessons we can learn from the two countries. So maybe next time, Dr. Matthias, you are there, we see, and also Frida, how do we support a South-South exchange in terms of supporting the capacity. There is something emerging in development cooperation. That is a big move away, going around getting handouts from development partners. You give me 100,000, you give me a 50,000. The question we need to ask ourselves, is this going to solve is it going to solve the issue? No. That is why I think we need to be looking into more the issue of financing. And here I challenge my development partners here that we also need to see how we create the synergies to be able to support midwifery, and in that process is reducing maternal mortality. Because UNFPA cannot do it alone, IntraHealth cannot do it alone, Annabelle cannot do it alone. We have to do that collectively. So we need to exploit that opportunity. And we look forward, Josephine and colleagues, that you at some point in time will convey such a meeting, and then we participate. I heard a lot about the health post. And I think in the last conversation I had with the Minister of Health, he indicated that there is theoretically, meaning on paper, they are supposed to be about 3,000 health posts. But in reality, most of them are not possibly functioning. And if they are not functioning, it means that the 201 death per the 100,000 is still not going to be addressed. We saw it also from the statistics you gave, that based on the projection, it will take many years to be able to reach that. So what the thinking is that we should be looking at it not as a challenge, but as an opportunity. What is the midwifery, whether through the Council of Nurses and Midwifery or through the association, what do you think needs to be done? And what needs to be done is what you bring to the table so that we all can come together, and then we see how best we take it up, and then we support you. From the UNFPA side, this is a global phenomenon, especially with the midwifery associations. Usually their capacities are not at the highest, and therefore we need to invest in terms of building the capacity of the midwifery association so that they have the capacity to be what you may call implementing partners rather than partners whereby we give them a grant, but they become a critical partner. We will continue, and let me say that from the UNFPA side, working with our partners to support the government and the people of Rwanda, that we try the best, not because it's just a work we are doing, but we need to be seeing it as one of the professions which is more of a calling. It's a calling. And personally, on my calendar, I mark the days of birthdays for my family. And the next birthday I mark on the calendar is the International Midwifery Day. We came, we have listened, and I think maybe for the next Midwifery Day, instead of too many speeches, we need to be maybe innovative. Either you take the opportunity to showcase what you are doing so that we don't sit for hours listening to presentation, but we are able to see the good work you are doing, and maybe we take it as opportunity also to bring partners together and make a commitment that may in the next year or in the next 2, 3, 5 years, this is the target we want to achieve. Let's give a round of applause to all midwives in Rwanda and also around the globe. Thank you very much, and wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading to the end of our program, and that will be followed with a group picture, a group photo. If you allow us to have a group photo in front of this poster. And after the group photo, we are going to continue to celebrate our day by sharing a lunch together in this hotel. The protocol members will guide you. Thank you so much. zirahagije kugera hirya iyi meza bayidufashe harimo space ndende.
Congratulations and celebrations when I tell everyone that you're in love with me. Congratulations and jubilations. I want the world to know I'm happy as can be. Who would believe that I could be happy and contented? I used to think that happiness hadn't been invented, but that was in the bad old days before I met you. When I let you walk into my heart. Congratulations and celebrations when I tell everyone that you're in love with me. Congratulations and jubilations. I want the world to know I'm happy as can be. Congratulations